Hello and welcome to this new episode of Open Book Entrepreneur. Today we have Jenny here with us. She's actually helping podcasters monetize their podcast. So, Jenny, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Absolutely. Hey, everybody. I am Jenny Bellinger, as you mentioned, and I have been podcasting since 2019. And as Tony mentioned, I actually work with podcasters to help them monetize their show and actually without having to chase corporate sponsors or build a massive audience.
Very nice. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, obviously, you mentioned you started this business in 2019. So, what inspired you to start this business?
Well, I started podcasting just because I was at the time a newer coach. I was about 2 years into my own coaching business. And I realized people were not finding me from Google. They were not, you know, out there searching for me. So I needed a way for people to find me. And a friend of mine is a podcast editor, and he suggested that I should start a podcast. And I thought, well, okay, if I'm going to do this, well then I better monetize from the get-go because yeah, I definitely want to make sure that this is worth my time and effort to learn a new skill and do a new thing. And what actually ended up happening was I monetized my first podcast before it ever went live.
Hmm, very nice. Yeah, absolutely. So, how did you do that?
Yeah, I did it through two ways. One of them was I used what's called the guest to client model. And I made sure I went and invited 10 potential ideal clients to be a guest on my show. And out of those 10 potential ideal clients, two of them became my client before the show ever went live. So I was making sure to record all 10 of those episodes so that way they would be out there and available for people. And because I wanted to build up a stash of episodes, so I didn't have to every week be rushing to try and find a new person. And yeah, 20% of them became my clients. So that was pretty cool. And then two of them also chose to sponsor their episodes. So out of 10 of them, four of them paid me money.
Wow, excellent. Yeah, and what's that like sponsoring the episode?
So the sponsoring of the episode for me, I treat it a little bit differently. I actually call mine spotlights rather than sponsorships because they're not advertisements for the guest necessarily. But what I'm doing is offering them exclusivity of their episode. So no other ads will show up on their episode. They also then get more exposure to my network. So if they're looking to try and sell more product or sell their program or whatever it may be to my audience, then they need to be in front of them more often. So with the number of followers that I have on social media, people are very interested in then paying for that extra exposure and what I call a spotlight. So they get the spotlight. And so that actually has helped create some additional revenue from the podcast. And I've already got the material created. I just push it out on social media more into my email list a little more.
Excellent. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So a little bit extra promotion of the
Mhm.
episode. Yeah. Very
Yeah.
nice. Yeah. And so what are the other ways on how to monetize the podcast?
Oh my gosh, there's so many ways. The next if someone's looking at the order in which they are lucrative, the next lucrative one would be affiliations. So promoting people who have an affiliate program set up. So there's an affiliate link that can be shared with the audience. And then that way, if someone in the audience says, oh, I really like what that guest is talking about, I think I'd like to explore more of that. Then when they go download the gift or watch that video or whatever, and they click on that link. And if they choose to purchase from that person, then, for example, money just shows up in my PayPal account
Hmm.
and I go, yay.
Very nice.
Right. So affiliations work really well. And it also then allows me to have really great conversations with other people who, and I'm going to put air quotes around this for those who are listening instead of watching, who do what I do. So I will happily talk to other people who offer similar services to what I do. So that way, because if my audience hasn't purchased from me, it means they don't feel like I'm their person, which is okay. But if they purchase from this other person and get a similar outcome, then I'm happy and I didn't have to deliver the service, but I still got paid. So I'm totally fine with having conversations with other people who do what I do.
Absolutely, yeah. And so, what's your goal for this year?
Oh, that's a great question. For me, going through and having, hmm, let's see, my goal, I have multiple goals, so I'm trying to figure out which one to share. It's like, um, so I'm actually going to be launching a podcaster's mastermind called the Podcast Mastermind, which will be all about podcasters who are implementing all these different strategies that I have access to. The 7 ways that I've personally used, in addition to other ways that I haven't used, but I'm happy to help them implement through that mastermind. So I'll be launching that and having 12 people in that mastermind by the end of the year. That's my goal.
Very nice, yeah. And then on top of that, so where is your podcast or your podcast? Where they're available?
They're available everywhere. So
Mhm.
I have 2 podcasts. So my first one is called Badass Direct Sales Mastery, and it's all about direct sales, network marketing, and MLM. We talk about sales, marketing, team growth, and leadership. And then my newest podcast is called What You Need to Grow. And What You Need to Grow is a podcast that's all about the intersection of personal growth and business growth. So I love having conversations with personal growth experts and business growth experts, and then seeing how those two kind of really intertwine with each other.
Very nice, yeah. And it's available everywhere. You mentioned, yeah.
Oh, everywhere. Yeah. YouTube, Apple, Spotify. Literally, if you know the name of the podcast, you can find it. And if you go to badassdirectsalesmastery.com or go to whatyouneedtogrow.com, they're available there.
Cool. So I can definitely share the links in the description of this episode as well. And then on top of that, like, so how do you manage to publish your podcast on all these platforms?
I use a distribution hosting service called Simplecast, but there's similar ones out there like Buzzsprout, Libsyn, Blueberry, lots of different ones. I personally use Simplecast because it's simple. It works really well, and it was very easy for me to follow. And I like to make it easy and simple for my podcast clients to be able to do the same. So I just push everything through Simplecast, and then it distributes out to all the places.
Great. And what's one piece of advice that you want to share with the audience for someone who is actually interested to start the podcast but didn't start it yet, or maybe they started but didn't really find a way to monetize or something like that?
Absolutely. Well, the key to podcasting success is to just be consistent and persistent. So, as long as you are more consistent and more persistent than 90% of podcasters, you will get in the top 10%, the top 5%, the top 2%, because for the past 5 years, this statistic has stayed true, which is 90% of podcasts have not produced an episode in the last 90 days. So, as long as you're in that 10% that has actually made an episode in the last 90 days, you're in the top 10%. It's not hard to be top 10%, right?
Okay, so what about like I produced about 250 episodes in last year, so
Wow.
put
There
me
you go.
somewhere.
That's a lot of episodes to
Yeah.
produce, and but the benefit from doing something like that is then people see that you've got a lot going on there,
Mhm.
and then they're able to then go, okay, well, if he's able to do that, what else can he do? Right?
Yeah.
So that's good.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's fantastic. Now, on top of that, like, if there is any questions, maybe that I didn't ask you, anything that you would like to share with our audience, what would that be?
Ooh, well, I would say the number one question that I get asked is, why is it that it's taking me so long to monetize? And often it's the podcast host who's in their own way, right? They have their own limiting beliefs that are keeping them from taking that step towards monetizing. So it really is, you know, it's it's simple, but it's not easy to get past that because oftentimes, getting around our own belief systems to take that step sometimes requires a little push, nudge, and support from someone who's been there and done that.
Exactly. Wow. Thanks a lot for sharing these tips, and thank you for being a guest today. Thank you all for listening and watching today's episode. If you like it, drop us a like, subscribe, and also if you have any questions for Jenny or me, you can ask them in the comments. And yeah, see you all in the next episode. Jenny, thanks a lot.
Thank you.